Hi, welcome to SBR Videos. I'm Peter Loshak. We are talking right now with SBR hockey handicapper Dana Lane, and it's Monday, April 11th. We've got the seedings for the NHL playoffs all finally set. We're going to take an early look at the matchups. We just got finished discussing the East. Very interesting thoughts from Dana Lane, and now we're going to talk about the West. Dana, let's start with Minnesota-Dallas. Dallas, obviously, they give up a lot of goals, but they score way more goals and had success with that in the regular season. How much will that, lead them to success in the postseason? Remains to be seen. Not exactly sure, but they do appear to have a clear edge over Minnesota, who got a big boost from the coaching change. But is that kind of boost enough to carry over into the postseason and win a series, or even be a good bet against a team like Dallas? I'm not exactly convinced. What's your take on Minnesota-Dallas?
Well, certainly that was a great point, Pete. I mean, since John Torchetti took over, this Minnesota Wild team has been a completely different one than the one that was under Mike Yeo. And one of the things about teams like this is, do they find themselves in a position where they feel like they've accomplished something already? And that's my only problem in this series against a Dallas Stars team that I think has something to prove now. Niemi has absolutely started to play well, and that's my main knock against the Stars. It was their goaltending all year. They're going to open a bottom minus $1.60. I expect a ton of money to pour in on Dallas. I don't think you're going to get very much value on the Stars, but certainly Minnesota is not the side that I would take.
Okay, sounds good. And now let's talk about Chicago-St. Louis. Dana Lane, there are some betting trends that I can identify for you for this series, right? First betting trend, St. Louis, awful in the playoffs. Second betting trend, Chicago, awesome in the playoffs, right? And now they're meeting up. Chicago is Chicago, but they are getting a little older. Their analytics are getting a little bit worse. St. Louis looks as awesome as always. Will they let down in the playoffs again? Maybe they will, but my sense is that this is the year St. Louis gets it done. What do you think?
I mean, I'm right with you with those betting trends, Pete. I mean, once we get to the regular season, St. Louis is definitely not a team that I want to play on. There's just something about that organization.
But what is it? Is there something fundamental to that?
Well, I think they're as an organization, they're so much more concerned about offense, and they have been that way for a very long time. So when we get into the second part of the season, which is the postseason, offensive teams generally do not do well. You need to have a good balance,
right? And
I just think St. Louis has never had that. They're 2-8 in their last 10 playoff quarterfinal games. They'll open up as a small favorite in this one, but I'm going to take the pedigree of the Chicago Blackhawks.
Really? Okay, I guess we're going to go head-to-head on that one. I'm going to be a buyer on St. Louis, at least in this one, but absolutely, based on, past years' results, it's very, very treacherous to bet on St. Louis any which way in the playoffs. All right, and then let's talk about Anaheim, and they're playing Nashville. Interesting matchup here because Anaheim started off the year, they weren't that good to start the year, and then they changed up their style to be more in line with, kind of like how the Kings play, and they had a lot of success in that. With that, the question is, do they have, the offense to make a deep run in the playoffs and to beat a team like Nashville? Maybe they do. The big question here, I think the big X factor is Pekka Rinne. He can at times be an elite NHL goaltender, at times be unexpectedly bad for extended stretches, and probably Nashville's fortunes in this series rest entirely with Rinne, right?
That's right. I mean, I had a very difficult time putting the Ducks into my top 10 all season. Right. Just recently have they kind of got into that top 10. And the reason is I will see them go out and play fantastic against the Kings and come from behind from 16 points in the Pacific Division to overtake the Kings. And then we'll see them lose at home to Winnipeg and Vancouver. This is not. I'm not jumping on this Ducks bandwagon. They're 3-3 in their last 6 games, and there's not enough offense for me to back them throughout the playoffs. They're going to open up about $1.60 in this game. I think you're going to get even money for that fact. But like you said, Pekka Rinne and the way that his performance will be directly responsible for Nashville's success.
All right, and then let's talk about San Jose, LA Kings. This is an interesting matchup. I'm not sure if I'm seeing an edge here at all. Of course, the last time they met was in 2014. Sharks won the first 3 games and wound up losing the series. Lost the next 4. These are 2 tough teams, 2 quality teams. Could make a strong case for either team. The Kings are just great with their puck possession dominance and Jonathan Quick in goal. It's just a great formula. San Jose has a pretty good formula as well, but seems a half notch down or a full notch below what the Kings bring. I guess there's no reason for me to think that San Jose is going to play better than expected here, so I would have to lean Kings in this series. Hard to say what the odds will be, but if there'll be value there, but have to be leaning Kings, right?
Yeah, I think that LA will come out about $1.50 in this first game. Obviously, you'll see Los Angeles money because the perception is that they are the better of the two teams. But I think what really helps San Jose is the fact that they're actually starting these games on the road, which is something that obviously during the regular season they were much better on the road than they were at the SAP Center. And I actually have San Jose a tick above Los Angeles in my power rating.
Really?
So I would not be surprised if they do come out victorious. And they're 25-10 in their last 35 games. You will get plus money in this. So that would be the side that I would kind of lean towards, although there is not a much difference between these two teams.
All right, interesting. Do you want to get a little bit more in depth of why you have San Jose ranked a tick above the Kings?
Yeah, and the same reason why I'm not a huge fan of the Ducks as of late. I mean, we saw Los Angeles blow a 16-point lead, and we saw Los Angeles lose to teams at home that they have no business losing to. I still also want to see how Alec Martinez is going to recover, and I think that that's huge for them defensively. And I think without a ton of depth, they have been a little tentative about bringing their defensemen up into the offensive zone. So if Martinez is not back or he's not 100%, I think that really hurts them offensively.
All right. Awesome thoughts, Dana Lane. As always, we will be speaking again with you very, very soon to get into possible betting value, specifically with upcoming games all playoffs long. Thanks so much, Dana.